Good morning, Florida. It is a beautiful day down here in the Sunshine State. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and it is time to talk about compost. First off, what is compost? Compost is a collection of organic ingredients decomposing to make plant food. See? Okay, but how do I make compost? The science of compost. Your basic compost is made up of three main ingredients: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, symbolized by NPK. Get out of here, kitty. In your ideal compost, you want it to be about 1% nitrogen, somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2% of phosphorus, and between 0.5% and 1% of potassium per weight. This is just the science of compost. Your average home compostor will not need to adhere to these numbers, but it'll just give you a good idea of what nutrients are going to be in your compost. A good compost that's made out of many various ingredients will also contain many other nutrients and minerals for your plants, but these are the three main ones. Where does the nitrogen come from? Basically from manure, also rotting vegetable matter. Phosphorus comes from some plants and rock phosphate, and potassium comes from ashes. Alright, now I'm not interested in your fancy man science doublespeak. I don't have ashes and I don't have manure, but I still want to compost. What do I do? Well, son, you can basically throw any old thing from your kitchen into the compost. Take a look here. We've got coffee grinds, we've got leaves from something, we've got an old orange, we've got some other stuff, all this stuff. It's decomposing. I'm going to poke it with a shovel. Yum. I like the idea of composting, but all my friends say it's stupid. What are the advantages of composting? There are many advantages to composting for your average home gardener. For example, you can take all your kitchen scraps and turn them into valuable plant food. Here in Florida, most of our topsoil is really sandy, so chemical fertilizer tends to leach away, and it's not even worth using. Whereas organic fertilizer will actually stay in the soil and continue to be plant food. Additionally, you can find many surprises in your compost bin. For example, this seems to be a plant of kale or lettuce or something that happens to be growing. We've also got some onions in here somewhere, and one time I actually found a 2-foot high avocado plant. Okay, so here I am in my kitchen, and I'm confused. How do I set up a compost system? Well, wait a minute. Alright, in order to set up your compost system, this is what we did. We got ourselves a little bin here, and we keep all our organic matter in there until it fills up, and then we bring it outside. Non-compostable. This is our compost bin. I made this by hand. Basically, I went to the Home Depot and I took apart some old pallets that I got for free and made this compost bin. There's a couple things you want in a compost bin. First off, it doesn't have to be a work of art. It doesn't even need to support your weight. What it does need to do is have 4 sides to keep out animals and to keep the compost in. Another important thing is it needs to have a solid roof so that the compost doesn't get too wet. A little moisture is a good thing, but if it gets too wet, it won't decompose properly. One last thing you want to do when starting up your first compost bin is to break up the ground underneath it with a shovel, like this, before you start putting compost in it. This releases the microbes that are going to eat your compost from the soil, and it will allow your vegetable scraps to be broken down quicker. Can I really throw anything into my compost bin? Well, no, not really. You don't want to throw in any meat or animal-based grease. Additionally, you don't really, for the home composter, you don't really want to throw in eggshells. They are a really great source of nutrients, but they tend to stink. And if you have your compost bin right near the house like here, it can become a nuisance. So no animal products, don't throw in your own poop, and no eggshells, and you should be good. Alright, so now I know the who, why, how, and what for. How do I know when my compost is done, and what do I do with it then? Your compost will take a little while to decompose. Generally it will take about half a year in this climate. You'll know that it's ready when all of the materials in your compost look pretty much uniform. You can't really tell an onion from a banana or whatever. In order to use it, what I like to do is when I plant my plants, like this guy right here, I dig a hole and put a shovelful or two of compost underneath. That way it'll stay in the soil, continue to decompose, and the plants will eat it and enjoy it. You can see these guys here are just starting to flower. Welcome to spring. Compost is cool!